Okay. Hello, Twitch, YouTube. Welcome to Wednesday Night Vintage, Mythic Society weekly event. We got a cool, spicy Hermit Druid deck. It's been like 3 months since the last time I played Hermit Druid. The last time I played Hermit Druid, we played 4 Hermit Druid, 2000 Oracle, and then boarded out of the combo, the graveyard-based combo, and boarded into 4 Divining Witches. This time I have a little bit of a different take on it. The combo being, you activate Hermit Druid, you have no basic lands in your deck, you mill over your deck, you mill over 4 Narcomoebas, and then you use the Narcomoebas to flashback Dread Return on your Thassa's Oracle, and you win the game. Here we have a little bit other ways to play. 3 Hermit Druid main with 4 Living Wish. Living Wish gets a creature or a land from the sideboard. So I have another Hermit Druid. I have a Divining Witch, which does a similar thing to Demonic Consultation. I have a Fair card with True Name Nemesis and Uro. And then I have like kind of similar sideboard hate to like a Doomsday deck, because you're kind of like a Doomsday deck. You're a Xeroxy combo deck. You have like all your restricted blue and black spells, and then your Preordains and Flusterstorms. And then so you can win through the Hermit Druid, or you could, cast Thassa's Oracle, then activate Hermit Druid, or cast Consultation. Got a couple different ways to win. So we're playing the Mythic Society weekly. This is round 1 versus Alec Levy, who is playing the Jacob Boss's creation, the mono white Eldrazi with 4 main deck Leyline. So 4 main deck Leyline are fantastic against the entirety of Vintage at the moment. Very good versus a lot of decks, including my deck. 4 main deck Leyline is fantastic versus my deck, which is an issue. So let's see how it goes. Round 1 versus mono white Eldrazi. Oh boy, it's one of those hands, isn't it? So the big problem with this hand is, of course, I don't have any lands in it. However, there's an Ancestral, so as long as there's lands in my top 4 cards, we get to keep playing. Theoretically, this deck doesn't have a lot of Moxen, so it's not really correct to cast Ancestral on my turn. I don't think I'm going to cast it on their upkeep. I know that they don't have counter magic, so I would rather try to play around Wasteland by holding this fetch land. All right, so they have a Cavern of Souls. Now, Archon. All right, so the way opponent played this is interesting, because theoretically, most of the time, you want to lead with your Moxen before you play your Cavern, so your Moxen are less likely to get countered. However, they do know I have 1 Daze in my deck due to open deck list, so playing Cavern first lets them play around Daze, which is interesting. So if they play another Moxen here, pretty likely to Daze it, so that they can't play an Archon this turn. But they didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch a Tropical Island and cast Ancestral Recall. Hoping to find more lands. I found no more lands. I wish I had cast this Ancestral in the upkeep, because I definitely would have forced that Mox Emerald. Unfortunately. What I might do, I'll probably just Assassin's Trophy the thing that result. I just hit no lands? What is going on? Am I supposed to brainstorm and try to find a land? Like, what's the probability that I have no lands in my top, like, what am I at right now? 12 cards currently? So there'd be 15. There'd be 1 land in the top 15 cards? Please hit a fetch land. All right. I mean, I hit 1 land here. All right. So Flusterstorm is terrible and Mental Misstep is terrible. So we can get rid of those 2. And now I have the ability to Assassin's Trophy the Archon. I do have to fetch an additional Tropical Island to do so, but I can also Trophy Cavern. I'm not 100% sure that's, but I guess that is better. I'm not feeling it though. Giving them just a basic right now. Tough call. It's a tough call. Because I can just fetch, and then when the Archon resolves, I can just trophy it. And that way I'm only dead to other Archons. Like, having an Archon is fine, because there's only 4 Archons in their deck. I guess there's like only 7 humans in their deck. Their mana base is really, really bad. Giving them a basic planes here feels like a mistake. But I guess I would be giving them a basic planes anyways. I don't know. I'm not convinced that this is better than just letting the Archon resolve, to be honest with you, but... You definitely want to do it in draw step, so they have a possibility of having drawn their 1 planes, which we know based on their open deck list. Maybe they drew the planes. They did not. I mean, if they have another Cavern, we get wrecked, for sure. But then they're putting Cavern on Archon, and it's not the end of the world for us, so... They're gonna actually play around Daze again, and this time they're gonna revoke my Jet. I really actually don't want to get Strip Mine and have my Jet revoked, so I'm just gonna pitch. And Merchant Scroll gets Dig Through Time and Gush. I'm just gonna pitch Narset. This is fine. If they want to Wasteland me, that's fine. All I really need to do now is find a Hermit Druid. Time Walk. All right, definitely just going to start with Time Walk. Then we can try again. Hermit Druid is the best. Dread Return is a really bad one. So I can't cast either Dig Through Time or Gush right now. But I guess I would rather have a Dig Through Time. I mean, we've just seen like no lands. No preordains either. And they have another Wasteland. Jeez. All right. Well, we might just lose this game to Wastelands because, I mean, we drew so many cards. Like, we drew so many cards and we just had no lands. Well, really frustrating is what it is. We're not playing a low amount of lands. We're playing 16. We can play Mystic Sanctuary. I guess opponent is finally out of lands as well, which is good for us. Especially because they have a bunch of uncastable ley lines as well that they can draw. This Narcomoeba isn't the worst draw, as it pitches the Force of Will and lets us keep Preordain and Dig Through Time. This Living Wish is a fine draw as well. Just looking for a land. All right, found a land. Now the best plan is what? I can just Living Wish for a Hermit Druid, which does leave me a little vulnerable to Wasteland. I could Living Wish for a Strip Mine, which I think is interesting play. Living Wish gets a creature or a land. So I can Living Wish for a Strip Mine. I could Living Wish for a Hermit Druid. I could just cast Preordain. No, it's really not that big a deal because you can just tutor or find the Thassa's Oracle. The biggest problem with Living Wishing for a Hermit Druid at this point in the game is that we did draw the Dread Return, so we do need to find an additional Thassa's Oracle, either the one in our deck or the one outside of our deck. We also have like Living Wish for True Name at some point here. I think all of it comes down to we might as well just cast Preordain. Hit a land. I'm not going to take another Preordain. I'm just going to take a land and hope to draw more lands. Now we're pretty far ahead. As long as opponent's not drawing like a Cavern, we should be in great shape. I assume they pitch a Leyline because their deck can't cast Leyline. And now we have Dig Through Time, Living Wish. I'm kind of into the idea of like Living Wishing for a Strip Mine. I'm kind of into it. Just take them off their white mana. This is true. But I only have 3 Narcomoebas in my deck. So yeah, I guess that's fair. We can, of course, we have 1 Cabal Therapy in our deck. We can therapy our own Dread Return. to combo off. Yo, T-Nest, you're a powerful wizard. Appreciate the sub. I'm just trying to figure out what the best line is. I guess with 2 tropical islands at this point, maybe we do just want to go for Hermit Druid. It's a couple turns out is the only real question. Like, I have to Living Wish this turn and then play Hermit Druid the next turn, and then the turn after that is the one I get to go off on. Like, I'm not 100% sure that Living Wishing is better than casting Dig Through Time, right? How much are they hurt if I just strip mine their land here? I don't think I want to do that. I'm going to cast Dig Through Time. I think Dig Through Time is better. Don't think any cards in my graveyard matter because I opted not to play Deathrite Shaman or... I opted not to play Deathrite Shaman, and I opted not to play Yogwill. All right, so I have a Hermit Druid and a Consult here. I could theoretically take an Archamoeba to have double Force of Will, but then I can't Therapy myself and Dread Return. So it's possible that I don't even go for Hermit Druid and I just go for a Consultation kill. Though I wonder if it makes sense to just take Underground Sea Hermit Druid and just forgo the console. Like, don't really need a console if I have a Hermit Druid and a Living Wish. I'd rather have a land. So the only thing I'm worried about, Neil, is that the only thing I'm super worried about is that I draw, like, the turn I want to go off, I draw, like, the extra Narcomoeba. Yeah, that's exactly what I was worried about. But I could just cast this Narcomoeba. So, but I could also hold it in play for Force of Will. So what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold it for Force of Will. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a Hermit Druid. And then I'm going to Living Wish for a Thassa's Oracle. And that way I don't even have to care about my graveyard, and I get to keep Force of Will back up. So now I can still force whatever they do, and next turn I just play Thassa's Oracle, trigger on the stack, activate Hermit Druid. Yeah, I can force that. This is exactly why I wanted to hold up force. Voila. I'm pretty surprised we won that game after bricking on lands so hard, but opponent also bricked on lands after that, so... Okay, not bad, not bad, not bad. So opponent gets to sideboard. They get to bring in Containment Priest to stop the Narcomoeba combo. They can bring in Deafening Silence to combat the Xerox. And they can bring in Rest in Peace and Surgical and Swords to Plowshares. So they're probably going to bring in 3 Swords to Plowshares, Surgical or Rest in Peace, and 2 Containment Priests to stop the graveyard part of the combo. Yeah, I really think this is like a really good addition that I don't know why I didn't see the last time I was brewing with Hermit Druid, but I really like this. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave in Mental Misstep for Swords to Plowshares, I think. But I'm gonna take out the 2 Flusterstorms, and I'm going to bring in an additional Assassin's Trophy, and I'm going to bring in the additional Hermit Druid. No, the Uro. It's a little weird because I don't actually have a lot of sideboard slots, especially for the Eldrazi part. Like, this is all artifact and graveyard, and then this is all combo pieces. And, like, although I want a true name in this matchup, it's probably better for me to be able to Living Wish for my true name than have 1 true name in my deck. So I never actually board, like, unlike the last time we played Hermit Druid, which was 3 months ago, I don't actually board out the Dread Return combo in this one. Due to the Living Wish package. So I think the Uro is fine to bring in. Having an Uro in play would be reasonable. Obviously, Uro is super weak to Leyline of the Void, which is a problem. It could be that, like, this is not even supposed to be in my sideboard, and maybe I'm supposed to play, like, more true name Nemesises, or, like, a Questing Beast, or, I don't know, some kind of large green or blue monster. Maybe like a large green monster is like a better thing to have in my sideboard. I'm not really sure. But I think I'd rather have access to the Witch off of the Wish. The Witch off of the Wish. I think I want to leave these pieces. I could bring in the Hermit Druid over the Uro, but I feel like in general, the Uro is pretty good in the matchup if they don't have a ley line, but maybe it's not with like Containment Priest and Surgical and Rest in Peace coming in. Maybe I would rather just have a Hermit Druid. Yeah, I'm like not sure about the Uro. So what I did was I went back and I looked at my old Hermit Druid list, which you can find on my YouTube channel. I started with my old Hermit Druid list and I compared it to this there's a one trick player in Legacy on Magic Online who Containment Priest does not stop Uro because I'm pretty sure it's cast. So you're right. Containment Priest does not stop Uro, theoretically. So there's a one trick player in Legacy who plays Cephalid Breakfast, I believe it's called. And they play a Living Wish board for their Cephalid Breakfast. And Cephalid Breakfast is just like a bad version of Hermit Druid. Because Hermit Druid is banned in Legacy. So I was checking a look at their list and I saw like the Uro and the True Name. And I really liked the idea of having Living Wish True Name. But I did not know how good Living Wish Uro would be. So this is a good hand. So I have Forces, I have turn 1 Druid, and I have Haze, and they don't have a ley line, so pretty good. So here you don't want to, well, okay, if you have no Moxen, then playing it's fine. I was say if you have a Moxen, you want to hold your Cavern. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think that far ahead. It's possible that I don't know. I would want like a non-pyroblastable threat. So like obviously True Name can't be Pyroblast once in play, but it can be Pyroblast on the stack. So I'm not 100% sure what it would be. Here I'm gonna go for double green source in case they have a Wasteland and a Revoker or something. So now I have double counter magic. They actually have to interact with my mana or my Hermit Druid or have 2 sources of graveyard or like yeah, that's fine. I just daze that, picking up my island. And then they lose. They have to have Surgical, but I have Surgical beat, so. Game. Yeah, it could be like an Elder Gargaroth, sure. That's a good start. Could be Questing Beast, maybe. Should we play another league match with this deck, or should we watch the other Mythic Society events? Because I know there are some sweet brews we can watch.